All right, we're going to start today's lesson with a caution and an instruction. Please, dear God alive, there is enough idiocy on the internet without you adding it to the comments below when I make generalizations, particularly when I make generalizations about very sensitive groups. See, you can make generalizations about white males. Well, we're rhino-hided. We're just supposed to take it because apparently we have privilege, which makes us immune from all emotionally hurtful statements. But in this case, yes, I'm going to be talking about women. I may, in fact, be talking about single mothers. I may, in fact, be talking about women who support Hillary Clinton. Now, please God, alive and above, if you have a heart and a soul and a mind within your body, do not come to the comment section below and say, well, I'm a woman and I don't support Hillary. Well, I'm a woman and I don't like Hillary. I know. It's a generalization. If I said women are generally shorter than men, do you feel the urge if you're a 6-foot-tall woman to say, well, I'm taller than most men? Type. Okay, we get it. You're tall. You're not exactly reaching the stratospheric heights of understanding of statistics, but I understand that there are exceptions to all of this stuff. And when I'm going to be talking about women's deficiencies in political knowledge, I am fully aware. You know why? Because I've actually had them on the show. There's Ann Coulter, there was the late Phyllis Schlafly, there's Ayn Rand, there's lots of wonders. Michelle Malkin, lots of wonderful female thinkers in the realm of politics. I know. Please. The internet can only handle so much stupidity. 3 more, and I think it's all going to break down. So this is something really, really important to understand. So why are we going to talk about this? Well, so women are about 53%, give or take, of the US electorate. And ever since women were granted the right to vote, not one single presidential candidate has gotten into the White House without their support. Now, I'll put the sources to all of this below. I'm not going to go through all of the poll details. You can dig through them if you want. But in general, women doth support Hillary Clinton, much like a cup on a bouncing nutsack. Now, why do they support Hillary Clinton? It's a little tough to figure out, but 2 things seem to shine through. Number 1, they say, well, Trump doesn't show enough respect for the people he disagrees with. See, Trump doesn't show enough respect for the people he disagrees with. Now, this is kind of odd because Trump, more than any other Republican candidate in memory or before, has done massive outreach to traditionally Democratic blocs like blacks, Hispanics, gays, and so on, right? Now, how much Hillary outreach has there been toward Trump supporters? I mean, I guess you could count paying homeless people to punch Trump supporters would be an outreach because you got to reach out to punch them. But in terms of like trying to widen the tent and reach out to Trump supporters, it hasn't really been the case. So if you have a problem with people who don't seem to have enough respect for people who disagree with them, your problem rationally would not be with Trump. It would be with Kankles von Gollum pantsuit. So, I don't know. Call me crazy, but if women found it so important to respect people you disagree with, why would 2/3 of divorces be initiated by women, and why would they be so acrimonious in general? And of course, if you have a problem with people who disagree with you, I don't know, there are a bunch of leftists who swarmed and assaulted a homeless black woman who was guarding Trump's Hollywood Walk of Fame star after it had been smashed by some other lunatic. Doesn't seem particularly nice to me. If you care about people who respect people who disagree with them, how is Hillary Clinton calling half of Trump supporters, approximately 1/4 of the entire voting population of the United States, racist and sexist and misogynist and the basket of deplorables and stuff like that? What about Clinton saying that, oh, it's really important to understand that Ku Klux Klan and white nationalists are totally behind Trump? Or Hillary Clinton saying that Trump's campaign is founded or built on prejudice and paranoia? Does that sound very inclusive and open-tent and respectful of people who disagree with you? And of course, a lot of women think that Trump's personality is a major problem. Now, that's not policy. That's just called, I don't like him for some reason. I can't put it into words because feels. That is not an argument. That is not policy. Oh, but we'll get to that and why in just a moment or two. Let's just leave a little bait hook teaser hanging there. Now, what else is interesting, particularly among white women, is that white women who are well educated support Hillary Clinton a lot. Now, white men who are less educated support Donald Trump. White women who are more educated tend to support Hillary Clinton. Now, of course, some people think that university, particularly the kind of courses that women on average take, which, you know, touchy-feely courses, humanities and stuff like that. In other words, courses much more subject to infiltration and takeover by leftist propaganda merchants, swinging their little Marxist purse, putting their fishnet stockings on display and trying to lure people into a general hatred of capitalism, white males, history, the West, all that protects and sustains civilization, which protects and sustains women. But we'll get to that at the end of it. So for people who think that education is about gaining knowledge rather than being slowly brain injected with soul liquefying propaganda, well, they say, well, you see, if women are more educated and they support Hillary Clinton, that must mean that you smarter people support Hillary Clinton. La la. No. Women overwhelmingly take courses in the humanities. Humanities courses are overwhelmingly leftist propaganda brain injections, so it's not that at all. So that's, I think, quite important. This feel aspect of things, women's brains are a little bit more focused and primed towards the feels rather than the thinks. And I have no problem with that. This is not an insult. It's just a description of differences. I had a call on the show recently arguing about deportations. Well, deportations, the call of deportations are tearing families apart. Tearing families apart. The people, the parents who came in illegally, they had a baby on American soil. It's an anchor baby. You're going to take that baby, or you're going to take the parents away and leave the baby to be an orphan. And it's like, no. First of all, that's not what would happen. I mean, you would take your child with you if you were deported, so that wouldn't be an issue. You'd leave it with legal relatives in the States or whatever. But the reality is, of course, every parent who breaks the law risks going to jail and therefore sad children and family breakup. Does that mean that no parents should ever be sent to prison for breaking the law? Is that how it works? Is it not the parents' responsibility for breaking the law? Must everyone else suffer because people broke the law and we're sad because if the children without parents, the children are sad? No. If the parents go and kick a homeless guy to death, the parents are going to go to jail. Do we say, well, no, we can't do that because that's tearing apart a family? Also, when it comes to illegal immigration, it's the Democrats' fault and the Republicans in name only, like the Gang of Eight Rhinos' fault. But they promised amnesty. Also Reagan, who actually didn't just promise, but gave a pathway to citizenship in California, thus turning California from a Republican state to a Democrat state from here to eternity. But if you're dangling the carrot across the border, oh, come over here, just hang tight, we'll get you citizenship. Well, of course you're going to draw a lot of people over, but it's your fault for offering citizenship. It's not the fault of the people who are then enforcing the law. It's the fault of the people who are dangling citizenship, drawing lots of people across the border. But again, thinking about families being torn apart, it's an emotional hot button issue for women and I guess some men. And the reality is, though, it can't logically be sustained at all, which is kind of what men are good at, is this kind of logical consistency and so on. So does it sound like I'm insulting women? I'm not. I'm not at all. There's different specialties, different strengths and weaknesses for each gender. So women were given the vote. And I don't know if there was a little sort of asterisk, here's the vote, ladies, asterisk. Please start learning a little bit more about politics, if you don't mind. Voting without knowing what you're doing is even worse than driving drunk, in my opinion, because driving drunk, you might not hurt people. Voting based on feelings rather than knowledge, you will hurt not just people, but the very foundations of the civilization that protects you. So women across the world, they have surveyed 120 countries. I'm going to focus on one survey of just 10 countries here. Across the world, women know far less about politics. Now, it has nothing to do with gender equality. It has nothing to do with economic advantage. And so one report focused just on 10 nations. Men and women were asked questions about international news, domestic issues, and so on. Australia, Canada, Colombia, Greece, Italy, Japan, Korea, Norway, and the UK, and the US. So women answered fewer questions correctly than men in every single country. Now, the gap between men and women's knowledge of domestic and international issues and questions was even greater in Norway, which is one of the highest in terms of gender equality in the world, than in South Korea. Much lower equality rating. So in other words, when women had more equality, they knew less about politics. So good job, ladies. Thanks for taking your vote so seriously and getting informed about the issues. Economic status is also quite interesting. Women were more widely behind men in political knowledge in, quote, advanced economies in the UK and the US than in far less advanced economies like Colombia. In other words, the gap between men and women's knowledge was less in less advanced Colombia economically than in the more advanced UK and US. In other words, when women get privilege, when women start to approach equality, they get more and more drunk and blindfolded when it comes to driving the car of state. So there's that. Now, in another study, again, which I'll link to below, when it came to the highest categories of knowledge, the people who knew the most, there were 3 times more men than women in the highest categories of knowledge. And in another study, 5 times more men knew a lot about politics than women. And listen, this is horrifying and tragic stuff, but I believe women should be treated equally. I have respect for women, which means I tell them the truth. I don't know if it's just a male thing, but for men, when someone you know is bullshitting you or pretending to know something that they don't, men call each other on it. And I call women on it because I refuse to treat women's pretense at political knowledge like some 5-year-old's drawing of a house. Oh, that's a lovely drawing, Pat, Pat, Pat. Very good voting, very good studying of failed knowledge, anti-based political nonsense. Very good job. Very good job letting your feelings guide the giant machinery of the state, because that never goes wrong, does it now? But don't take my word for it. Just go bring it up with your female friends, whether you're male or female. You know, sit down and say, hey, let's talk about politics. Let's talk about principles. Let's talk about economics. Let's talk about values. Let's talk about philosophy. See what happens. They might flee to the kitchen. Who knows? Or ask your female friends. Say, you know, when you get together with female friends, how often do you talk about politics or economics or anything like that? And I think you'll get an answer. If they're honest, the answer will be, you know, pretty much never. And the funny thing is, there's a test for like the feminist quotient of a movie, which is either 2 women alone with each other, like talking about something other than men. Okay, well, women can do this. They can talk about politics and economics and philosophy and the state and laws and foreign policy and all that kind of stuff. Except apparently they generally don't. So, but hey, you know, they vote more, they know less. They vote more, they know less. They determine the election. They know very little about politics relative to men. I'm sure that's going to work out wonderfully for us. Because here's the thing, ladies. I mean, this isn't fun, but it's very, very serious. Women know and understand a lot of things I don't understand. I don't have a clue at. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Women like to make the bed during the day. Why do we make the bed? I don't know. Why can't I go out dressed comfortably as a man? Why can't I be seen in public being comfortable? I don't know. But I don't do it. Why do we have to take a potted plant to people who've invited us over? When I would go to guys' houses, I'd never once bring a potted plant. Maybe a 6-pack. Not the kind in my middle, but never once did I bring a potted plant to a friend's place if we were men. But now we go places, we bring potted plants or little baskets of stuff that I'm sure people will never eat. But we have to do it, and I submit because women understand these things. When I was a bachelor, I had 3 plates. Some of them even had even edges. I don't know why, as a married man, I need so many different plates. I have no idea. Why? I don't understand this either. Why are there soaps in the bathroom still wrapped in plastic? You can't wash with them. Don't touch them. Why are they shaped like shells? I don't know. I can't figure these things out. Why do we need so many towels? I mean, when I use a towel, I'm the cleanest thing in the house. Why? You go to the mall. What is the difference between bric-a-brac and just useless crap that you have to dust? I don't know. Why do we hang wreaths on our door at Christmas? The outside of the door. I go in through the garage. I never see them, but apparently they're very, very important. Why are there only 2 stores in the mall that I would ever buy anything at, and the rest I have to be dragged into like a cat getting shaved for an operation? Why do houses have more than 1 closet? How many creams do you need for your face? Are you making some sort of interstellar soup? Why do we have so many different knives and forks? Why, when 6 people come over, do we have to have 90 different food options? I don't know. Shoes. I don't know. You only have 2 feet. So, yes, women's expertise is great. I love it. I love living in girly world. It's a beautiful place to live. Things are clean and tidy and neat. I know where things are. I can walk on the carpet without crunchy sounds. It's not like I'm strolling along a beach. It's beautiful. I don't understand any of these rules. I don't know why they're there. I appreciate them. I know that these rules are enforced. You know, you don't bring that potted plant to someone's house. You get on some kind of interstellar estrogen list. And there are little tiny frowns and imperceptible but significant pauses the next time you talk. And apparently, it's terrible. Women know stuff I'm terrible at. I get it. I defer to them. Because it's wonderful and their expertise is fantastic. So, let's start talking about politics. Hillary Clinton seems very keen on a war with Russia. She's talked about using nukes in Iran. She's happy to continue this insane engagement in Syria. You name it. She wants to blow it up. Hillary has also said that women could and in fact would be included in the draft. The draft and war. Okay, ladies, I will defer to you on the wrapped soaps and the configuration of malls and the need for all of these things that I don't understand and all these little tiny social rules I don't understand. I get that. I appreciate that. I actually even appreciate not scratching whatever itches me no matter where I am. I'm fine with that. I think that's great. I don't mind moving from Conan the Barbarian comic book into an Emily Post column. That's fine. That's fine with me. I can absolutely live in a Jane Austen novel, and I like it. But when we're starting to talk about war and the draft and violence and bombing, destruction, well, that's men's wheelhouse, ladies. You get it? We'll listen to you about a lot of stuff that you're good at. War, that's our turf. That's our neighborhood. That's our territory. You really, really need to listen to us. See, when it comes to saving civilization, say, you know, the very civilization that protects women, that keeps them safe and secure and comfortable, that gives them offices to work in, rather than having to cut things down with giant chainsaw blades. When it comes to saving civilization, ladies, you vote a lot, you don't know a lot. And when it comes to war and the salvation of everything that protects you, you need to trust your men. We trust you on a lot of stuff. You need to trust us on this. We know a lot more about this stuff than you do. When it comes to saving the very civilization that protects all of you, keeps you comfortable and warm and healthy and secure and safe. Listen to your men. Listen to who we want in office, to who we want in power. Listen. You want to be saved? Listen. We got this.